But for now, it's a flatter start. The broader markets are definitely showing you a little more sprite. You've got the small cap index, which is currently in the green. So Nikunj, as you were saying, at least it's a healthy market at hand.
And just now it presents Edelweiss. Let's take a conversation forward. Aditya, good morning. Thank you for joining us. We can endlessly argue, discuss, debate, deliberate on how market valuations are trading above their historical averages. But that argument is not finding any resonance with investors.
Okay, so my thoughts on that are simply the fact that there are points in time where you do end up running with valuations that are higher than averages, right? One of them is when you have an earnings cycle that is looking strong and much more confident. And I think that's where you are at some level at this point in time, given that they're expecting about 25% earnings for the next 2 years. And I think there's a much stronger basis for that this time around than you've seen in the last couple of years. So I think the early part of an earnings cycle will typically provide you earnings multiples that are higher than normal. The second is that, as has been talked about, is that the rate structure has changed in the economy. You are operating off much lower rates. There is greater access of capital. And in many senses, that is something that tends to change the valuation framework a little bit. Quite honestly, if you were to look at valuations adjusted for lower rates, you're just a little above averages rather than being dramatically above averages. And I would say the third thing at this point in time, I think which is important to keep in mind, is that I would tend to believe there has been a little bit of a reset that has happened in the economy, forced by the pandemic, but it really captures the last stages of the reset that was already happening. So whether it is corporate leverage, whether it is bank NPLs, whether it is the turnaround or the bottoming of the real estate cycle, all of this has tended to happen. So if you step back, I think there's earnings growth, there is rates that are lower, and you're looking at potentially a reset environment, which could suggest that you could have a longer term trajectory of growth. So I think that combination is what is giving you multiples that are higher at this point in time. I would suspect they can sustain for a longer period of time than is normally believed, but eventually they will tend to normalize. And that's where you stay at this point in time, and that's why we think valuations will stay relatively high. They won't necessarily go up further from here.
Aditya, for markets to keep on going higher, the technical factor is liquidity. That looks like the case is benign. But there has to be an earning surprise. There has to be an earning push. Where do you think that surprise could come from, which potentially right now markets are not pricing in, but you feel or your research is indicating that, look, this is the pocket, this is the name, this is the space. The markets are not that optimistic, but earnings will surprise us.
So I'd say there'd be three hefty areas where these could come from. The first would be the IT space, and you've seen some evidence of that come through in the last quarter. I think that's an area that could surprise on the upside and could actually tend to sustain. The second would typically lie with the financial system and the banks, where it is easy if asset quality has stabilized as the banks are increasingly suggesting. Then I think from a credit perspective, you will have fundamentally reasonable upsides. And I'd say the third thing lies with the entire global space, and particularly the commodity space, where there is a lot of momentum, both from a demand perspective and more importantly from a price perspective. And that is someplace where, clearly from the nearer term, you could actually get fundamentally very decent surprises. So I'd say these are the three places where you could get surprises. I'd say underlying themes, domestic consumption, generally the numbers will be good, but I'd wait for significant surprises. And the other place where you could get a boost from is really from asset values. When you have markets that reflate like this, when there is more liquidity that comes into the real estate market, these are areas where you could get earnings surprises, even though they are not core areas of earnings. So So I think, in that context, as I said earlier, I think there is more cushion in terms of the earnings revival that one is looking at this time around than you've tended to see in the past.
I'm going to carefully perhaps request you to dissect the market or maybe stocks into 2 or 3 buckets. A stock where you feel there is a definitely buy and hold strategy, which is next 3, 4, 5 years it could be in compounder. A stock or an idea where you feel that right now the business is at an inflection point because of a market share gain or industry dynamics, and a company or a business where you feel that right now it really is the force of liquidity which will create magic.
So I'd actually put, rather than getting into stocks, I'll just put it into buckets, right? And I think the first bucket where you can get earnings surprises and multiple compounders and a fundamental re-rating is the IT space. We are running target prices that are 40 to 50% higher than where prices are today after having moved or not. And I think that bucket, particularly for the large caps, I think is a massive space. I think the second place where you could get earnings surprises is with the financial system and the banks, particularly those which have been perceived to have been slightly higher on the asset quality risk side. I think you've had significant amounts of provisioning that have come through. I think that's the space where you could actually get earnings uptakes over the next 3 to 12 months, which are well ahead of market. And the third bit where liquidity could take things much further is really in the real estate space, where I think it has a double whammy because liquidity goes for beta stocks and that's where it lies. But equally importantly, if the liquidity sustains or extends in the underlying economy, I think volume trajectories can actually tend to move up. So that's how I'd actually put it into buckets of sectors and within them spaces where you will tend to see expansions that fundamentally tend to happen.
All right. Hi, Aditya. This is Mubina as well joining into the conversation. I want to know, do you think that, this budget, while of course FM Sitharaman has a task cut out for her, this is going to be the first of many for this budget, but do you think it's going to necessarily move the needle for the market or for any individual pockets of stocks in a sizable manner?
See, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to realize that the market has moved very, very strongly, right? And particularly in the last 1 or 2 months where it's been well ahead of global markets. So I think in that context, the ability for the budget to give a boost at an aggregate level to the market, I think is going to be a little bit of a challenge. Could there be some risks that lie with the budget from a market perspective? I think possibly there can be. I think risks will lie in the fact that the government is keen on consolidating its fiscal deficit, so that could translate into some kind of taxes that effectively come through, which people have. In a bull market, you tend to forget a lot of the risks. I think that is something that could be a little bit of an equalization factor that fundamentally tends to come through. And the third bit would be if the government. I would say it would be a little bit of a surprise, but if it does see the benefit of where you've seen growth, so whether it is real estate, where there have been some fiscal incentives that have come through, or where there's been auto, where lower rates have actually propelled demand and growth and therefore revenues, if in some places it takes an approach which is, lower taxes or provide more incentives to get growth, I think that's where you could see some pockets, even though I don't think that will necessarily come through. But the economic logic of lower prices, incentives to drive broader growth, I think that has played out very, very well over the last 3 to 6 months. So it will be more tempting than it has been in the past for the government.
So, since we've sort of taken this conversation a little macro, I'll keep it in that theme before we dive right back. I think in 2021, largely we are going to see obviously an elongated rate pause. There are expectations of maybe an inflation, making a return. And then of course the liquidity, which I think central banks are in no mood right now to sort of suck back in. we did say that when the market rallied last year, it was on account of this excessive liquidity. I mean, you have stimulus checks being given to almost every American citizen. So some of that, of course, is getting back to the markets. But then, like you mentioned, we have the Indian markets rallying more significantly. So do you think now, that it's the fundamentals, really, what you mentioned earlier, that's taking precedence, and that money is going into only the quality stocks, into the good stocks, the ones that are scripting a good, corporate earning, quarterly earning?
So I put it in two ways, right? One is that clearly the underlying economic performance has been positive and has surprised most. It has clearly surprised me, but I suspect it has surprised most on the street. If you look at the December numbers that have come through for, whether it is auto, whether it is for housing, that has been actually very strong. So I think in many senses, there is an underlying support that is coming from strong economic momentum, firstly. Secondly, I think that has to actually sustain, and you need more evidence of that, because the reality is, this has been a big negative event and the market is treating it, and some businesses are seeing it as a very positive event in terms of the pandemic, whereas there will be costs in terms of growth and segments which will lose out in terms of purchasing power. So I think you have to watch for areas of weakness before you extrapolate this for a very extended period of time. So I think that is very, very important. And I think the third bit, as you briefly mentioned, I think what you've got to watch for a little bit is in terms of inflationary risks. Now, you've seen it in terms of commodity prices. You've started seeing it in terms of gross margins that businesses are earning or have started earning in the recent past because costs have tended to go up. And you've seen it most recently with Maruti actually raising its prices, I think, a couple of days back, simply because of the cost push that is coming. So I think some of these pressures are also going to be evident over the next 1 or 2 quarters. This is something that it's not just about the P&L, it can impact demand also if prices go up. Do remember, oil prices have gone up, petrol prices have gone up for us, car prices are going up because of commodity costs. This can create a little bit of a demand wall, which you need to be watchful for. So I think these are the things that you need to keep in mind. I think you do need to be a little watchful with this. Having said that, your specific question in terms of whether this market rally is going to extend beyond just the leaders. I'd put 2 elements to it. One, I think the longer this liquidity stays, the greater is the possibility of that happening. The second thing is the longer demand stays strong, then you will see growth tending to widen. If that starts happening, then you will see a substantial move to so-called riskier companies or not the leaders, right? But I think that's still you still need to sit back and watch out for that rather than take that call immediately.
Aditya, hi there, good morning. Wanted to also understand your outlook when it comes to the overall earnings, and where is it, what do you think really it is that is going to drive the earnings recovery, because a lot of companies have been reining in their costs, and there have been tight cost controls that have been undertaken largely on account of the pandemic. But is this the quarter that we are likely to see a meaningful recovery?
So in terms of costs, I think costs will start going up, but clearly not to the same extent that they used to be in the previous year. So I think there have been 2 elements in the cost in the cost story, right? One, which has been most pronounced, has been the cyclical element of it, which is stuff is short, so why do you pay? But the other element, which is a bigger element, I think, in this whole thing, is the structural element, that people have rationalized costs more. They've seen spends which are effectively unnecessary, and I think those will tend to stay, while the bulk of the cyclical ones will actually come back. So bottom line is, I think you will see cost increases, Q on Q. You will see cost increases, not just in absolute terms, but as a percentage of sales. But I think the cushion that has been built up and the reset that has happened with businesses, I think is going to show through, and that margins will continue to do relatively well. I think one of the bigger things to really take away from this entire episode over the last 9 months has been that at the corporate operating level, there has been a massive reset in the way business is done, and the economics behind that business. And I think that has been very, very favorable for businesses and the corporate sector. And quite honestly, it's come at the expense of consumer demand and consumer savings, which is where the risks will lie at some point in time. But for the corporate sector, harsh as it seems, such a harsh environment, it's probably been an unadulterated gain for the biggest and the better players. And that is reflecting in the earnings that they're showing, and that's reflecting in the multiples that they're getting in the market.
All right, we'll let you go on that note, Aditya. Pleasure chatting with you as always. Thanks very much for giving us an insight as to what the outlook is when it comes to the budget, earnings, as well as macros and flows. A quick glance at the markets, and as things stand, we're up 0.33%, 14,560.